Okay, guys, we're back with another masterclass. Yours truly this time, and we're going to be talking about the importance of strength training for life-saving season, off season, and basically a whole lot of hopefully handy tips.
Nice. Yeah, I'm going to be taking you through the questions that we've curated for this masterclass. I know I'm personally excited to learn more about this from you. So, Brent, why is strength training important for life-saving athletes?
So I think it is actually important for anybody. Anybody should have a strength foundation. I think it was Charles Poliquin, a famous coach, kind of said that he put it best in saying that strength is a mother skill. So that's a skill that carries over into everything. And it sounds like a really deep, serious thing, but strength will carry over into every aspect of your life and till your age, for general life. But for athletes specifically, stronger is better. Stronger is faster. Stronger is more explosive. You can hold positions for better. For longer, so you can be more efficient. So I think, like I say, it is, and like he said, it is the mother skill.
Yeah. In terms of a strength program, what would then the main components be that life-saving athletes should be trying to incorporate? Because strength is quite broad if we just say strength. So what would you be recommending the focus areas are?
So I think where a lot of people go wrong, especially athletes, is you don't want your strength training to keep reflecting the same thing you are doing. So let's just say if you're an endurance athlete, the worst thing you can do for me is you don't want to go into the gym and then do more endurance stuff. You don't want to do long sets. You're already focused on that. You want your strength training to complement your sport and to improve it. So we want to, you can't be afraid of being strong, like doing small sets, long rests. And I know that often freaks people out who like to train hard, who like to go for broke and be sweaty. There's not saying there's a place for that, but we want a structured approach. So basically, it'll fit your season. So we'll have a training skeleton that will follow along your season and your goals. So generally for me, how would that look? You'll have, depending on your level, you'd have like a basics level where we would learn movements. Then we would have a hypertrophy phase. That's basically building a bit of muscle. But again, we're hammering down those movement patterns. Then we go into a full-on strength block where it's low reps, you get nice and strong, and then into more. So for me, I would call it an explosive phase, but that is geared more towards your sport. And obviously, it's very, very individualized, very, very specific to your exact goals, your weaknesses. And that's like another good point is that we can be working on your weaknesses in the gym. Like if you're boarding or skiing and you're lacking in a certain area, what we want to do is to improve that in the gym and improve your overall conditioning and that sort of thing.
Yeah. No, so it sounds like you can be quite tailored and individualized.
So there's a rabbit hole we could speak like 3 hours on.
But I think, there's definitely approaches then that all athletes could take, and specifically around it being a balanced approach and not breaking yourself. So how many days would you be recommending an athlete should be looking to incorporate strength?
So again, that will depend very much on your cycle, like your meso or macro cycle, basically your long-term plan, your short-term plans, your goals, everything is obviously goals-based, and I think that's always got to be in the back of your mind. And then for athletes, you don't want your strength training to cut your other training away. And you don't want to be like, flip, I'm actually so sore, especially in season or closer to season. You don't be like, I'm so sore, I couldn't paddle.
Yeah.
So we really want to have that balance, but at least 2 or 3 times. And then again, depending on how strong you are, and this will maybe ruffle a few feathers, but sometimes you like fitness, you can get fit. You can get fit in 12 weeks, you can fit in 6-8 weeks, again, depending on your level. But generally at a decent level, you don't need a lot of time to get fit. Say 12 weeks. Strength takes a long time to build. And if you are struggling in a particular area, sometimes it's worth actually dialing back. Like if I'm a surf skier, maybe if I'm not going to ski 10 sessions a week, maybe dial 2 back to invest in strength training, to invest in recovery. And that knock-on will have a much bigger effect on your overall performance than just whacking that. So from a balance point of view, I would say probably at least 2 or 3 times times a week. Again, it all depends on, in the off season, obviously we're talking off season, I would say let's try getting 3 a week. Couple of recovery sessions, those can be really short. I know we're going to get to that now. And then still getting in your kind of specific sessions where you're a sprinter, a swimmer, a paddler, whatever that may be.
And talking about, so taking on strength work, should this be adjusted based on your level? So if you are a beginner or if you're a very experienced athlete, are there different approaches to how strength gets incorporated?
100%. I think obviously, so we have what we call like a training age in the gym, like what's your training age in the gym? If you've been training for 10 years, 1 year, everything. But we could always go back to basics. So again, we would always structure, no matter who you are, we would start, simple moves like getting your squat pattern right, your push pattern right, your pull pattern right. And that carries over, goes over into everything. Like everyone can benefit with getting stronger in a squat, a press, a deadlift. In terms of beginner versus experience, I would say it's often like a complexity of movements and complexity of programming you would adjust. Like you wouldn't want to chuck someone into supersets and circuits and cleans and all that kind of crazy stuff when they're just learning. For me, we would always say we'll get a movement pattern right and then add in a weight. So there's no point squatting with a weight if you can't squat with no weight properly. Like it's going to cause injuries. It's going to cause, like overbalancing, overcompensation. So we'd rather get that right, and then we add in weight, then we add in intensity. So it's always we're always balancing intensity versus form, and it's in anything that's as soon as I ramp up intensity, my form's going to dip. That's just how it goes. Even if you think about competing, that's always going to happen. So to answer a question you asked simply a much shorter way, I think complexity of movements and complexity of the structure. But when we're getting strong, simple moves done often is the way to do it.
And I think that's a key thing for athletes who are listening. If you are a certified beginner in terms of your strength training, don't be taking on the complex things in a hurry. Focus on the basics.
And we spoke about social media in the previous one. You see a lot, like no one's going to post, look at me just squatting for 3 sets or 12 on social media. I'm going to post my cleans, I'm going to post my jumps, I'm going to post this rad stuff. But the foundation, you should always come back to that foundation, especially in the off season, is that kind of simple strength.
Exactly.
And it's very simple movement patterns.
Okay, so it's off season, you've decided to incorporate strength, you figured out within your program that you're going to be putting it in 2-3 times a week, and what type of movements you're going to be incorporating. When it comes to complementing a strength program, we've heard a lot about how important nutrition and recovery are. So how does good nutrition support off-season strength and conditioning?
So obviously, good nutrition will support strength and conditioning performance through the whole your whole season, your whole year. But for the off season particularly, and especially you're gonna get strong. Obviously, eating quality foods. Even with nutrition, we can take a very simple approach, a good balanced approach to nutrition. But we got to eat to our goals. If your goal is to pick up a bit of weight, you need to eat more. If you're going to want to get strong, then we eat a little bit more. If you want to drop some body fat, drop something, obviously we eat less. But in terms of athletes, is making sure you've got a balanced diet. Try not to lean away from carbs or fats. Include it all, especially as an athlete, they all play a vital role. And it's something that we often just kick under the table. And you can feel when you've had a good day. I performed well, I've slept well, I've trained hard. That's probably because your recovery's been good, you've probably slept well, and you've really eaten well. And it'll be a whole nother discussion we can get to one day, but even about how we eat on a race day, it's really important. There's a lot of small kind of tweaks we can make there, which we can definitely get stuck into.
Yeah, future masterclass.
Masterclass, just on nutrition.
Yeah. So, what are some common nutrition mistakes you see with the clients and athletes that you work with?
So I think in terms of athletes, we see a lot where athletes they either undereat or they don't overeat, but they'll eat a lot of the bad stuff. You'll think like, oh, I did a swim today, I can eat McDonald's. So if you're just thinking calories, yeah, you can fill up some bit of calories, but the quality that's going to give you and the recovery that's going to give you is terrible.
Yeah.
Like, we want to eat to support our goals, eat to support what we're doing at the moment. So, like, you don't want to undereat. I know everyone wants to look good, but if you're sleeping badly or training badly, like I have this conversation on the daily. So training, you want to be able to, the idea of training is is basically to improve. So you want to be going into a training session feeling as best as you can. If you're feeling like under 20, 50, 40, 50%, you probably shouldn't be training that day. And your nutrition is vital in how you feel and how you recover. So I think, and a lot of people, they want to go, we'll say like, oh, I see sprinters eating keto. It's like the worst thing you could do. Or endurance athletes dropping carbs. It sounds fantastic, and again, it's going to ruffle a lot of feathers. But if you just look at, especially kind of like the Lifesaving setup, like you need carbs. So it's a faster fuel source. It's a more efficient fuel source. It fills you up. You need fats as well. Again, there's a lot of for hormone health and recovery and stuff. So we don't need to be going keto. We don't need to be doing anything crazy like that. Protein's always going to be a massive role. Everyone, Christina, we've had this conversation personally saying,
more protein.
I eat so much protein, man. I'm definitely under it. If you actually tracked how much protein you have, you'll be, a lot of times you're shocked.
Yeah.
Shocked at how low it is. So that's a big one for athletes. And then trying to follow, like following extreme diets, like I say, like keto, cutting things out.
Don't restrict.
And don't restrict, and know what you're eating. If you want to make the best change, and the best advice I can give you is record what you're eating, record your training sessions and how you're feeling. And if you're like, geez, I felt good that day, then you start to remember that food that you ate the day before or on that day, and you build yourself like a little diary of what I'm doing, what makes me feel good.
Nice. Yeah, and I think in terms of recovery, during strength work, like how do you get the best benefit from the strength workout with what your recovery should be and your sleep? Like how do you nail that component?
So again, this is a conversation I probably have 3 or 4 times a week. So recovery, we all underestimate it, myself included. Like, and it's, like the higher up the ladder you go of performance or the type of athlete you are, you think, I need to be training hard. I need to be pushing the tempo. I need to be better. More is better. But recovery is massive. And if you look at something even like I had this conversation with a sprinter the other day. Specifically for sprinting, if you got a session, you need to be going fast. If you're not recovered and you can't go fast, you're getting, I was about to swear, you're getting F4 value out of that session, out of that system. So all of us, we could probably do with way more recovery. Ultimately, if you're training 8 hours a day, 8 hours a week, 5 hours a week, 10 hours a week, whatever you're getting, you want an equation that's very balanced. So you want to be sitting like this. A lot of us are tipped towards the training side. So you want to be sleeping well, you want to be eating well. And then recovery can be so simple. If you spend four days a week or 4 20-minute sessions a week on recovery, the difference that'll have will be shocking. And recovery can be something as simple as going for a walk. Ideal is like sauna, foam rolling, a YouTube yoga or mobility video. Massage is probably the best thing you can do once or twice, again, depending on your budget restraints. Once a month, once a week. And then you start to balance that equation, and guaranteed you'll see an improvement when you start adding regular recovery because of the volume and the intensity that you can hold within your sessions.
Yeah.
And again, like I'll end with saying it is something that we all undervalue. And 20 minutes, 4 times a week to start, and then you try to work that in as a daily sort of routine. And it'll be a shockingly good difference.
Awesome. So we've got a plan now, and we know we're going to recover well and eat well. Now, into the gym, what are the types of exercises that we should be focusing on during an off-season time of year? but ones that are going to make the biggest impact on us and our goals, and also what should we be avoiding. So yeah, in your experience, what exercises have you seen that have translated the best into life-saving performances for water athletes, beach athletes, hybrids?
So again, it would be very, very based on the stage of your program we're at, where you are in your cycle, what kind of, where I am in my gym cycle, my gym plan. But a big one where like a lot of people go wrong is you think sport-specific training and stuff like that. That doesn't need to be doing, you don't need to be doing that same motion in the gym as you are on a board or on a ski. If you're a ski pad and you ski, then you think, okay, I'm going to go train in the gym, and you do resisted skiing with like resisted paddling with a band. Or if you're a sprinter, you're going to resisted sprints with bands, and you make it all that same movement pattern. Again, we're not getting the value we could get. What we want to do is we want to fix imbalances in the gym, work on like opposing muscles, work on holding positions that'll benefit that. But if I had to say in the off season, I would begin simple strength, get strong in squatting, get strong in your core, get strong in pushing and pulling, and get strong in your weak areas. If you know you're prone to knee injuries, ankle injuries, get shoulder injuries, whatever that may be, get the muscles around that as strong as possible. Get your tendons strengthened through strengths. And then in terms of specific exercises, that'll come down the line. When we come closer to the season, when you've got those movement patterns locked in, then we'll do a lot of it. Then we'll do sort of specific stuff. The more, again, like if you're a sprinter, flagger, we'll do the more explosive moves like cleans, kettlebell things and push presses. If you're paddling and more endurance based, we'll build up volume of shoulders, a lot of core strength, and it's very cheesy, but always try avoid, machines aren't the devil, but try to start without a machine. So start with stuff that's not machine based.
Yeah.
You can let your core fatigue. Everything we do is core to extremity. So your core, your hips, and you think about every movement, every sport based movement, we want that to be strong. So try keep that involved as long as you can. Again, there is a place for machines, there is a place for isolation. Anyone who tells you there's not is talking nonsense.
Yeah. And are there any popular exercises or trends that are a waste of time for us to be doing?
How much time do we have?
Yeah.
Again, consistency is big here. Like there's a really famous quote. How's it go? I have to remember it exactly. But basically, it's along the lines of a badly programmed, followed at 100% will produce much better results than the world's best program followed at 0%, 10%.
Yeah.
So stick to a program. If you're following a program, if you're following a coach, put your trust in there, stick to it, and see it out. There are a lot of, the internet is the ultimate source of information, but that comes obviously with a lot of a downside as well. There's a lot of cool TikToks and people doing crazy things. We'll do like weird presses, and this is how you do your lat. Like you really need to, there's a famous, I don't know how big on lat pull downs everybody is, but there's a famous guy saying you must put your knee half kneeling position and roll your lat like that. If you are going to target your lats, that's perfect in your bodybuilding show. But for general, that's where your pull-ups will do better. Rows will do better. So there's a lot of trendy exercises. I think balance is also like a big one. Like there's no point doing a lot of stuff on balls, and there is a place for that. And there's ways to improve your balance, but do like squats on a Bosu ball, really like tiny little isolation exercises. For your sport performance, it kind of doesn't have a role. And if you like high rocks is fun, CrossFit is fun. Obviously that's kind of my background, but again, you got to think about what your goal is.
Yeah.
Like, what is my goal for my strength training or my season? And then again, we work everything back from that.
Yeah.
I would always say simple is best.
Yeah. So we know now not what to do. What are like some must-do movement patterns? We've had I think if someone, get your pen and paper out and give us your 8 or so of the must-do movement patterns that everyone should have dialed in.
So I would say movement patterns, you want to squat. Well, Do you want to push well? Do you want to pull well? Do you want to hinge well? So that's like deadlifting, kettlebells and stuff. And you want to rotate well. So you want to be able to twist. So you nail those 5 movement patterns, and then everything is a great base around that. If you can do those 5 movements, you can really start to add in a lot of cool stuff. But that'll always be the core foundation of everything. And then so when we come to rotation, that's like obviously twisting motion. So which includes, you want to be loose enough to be able to twist around your spine. You want your your torso to be able to twist out, your hips twisting. And you want to be able to stop rotation, which sounds weird, but it's actually quite a big thing. Like if you think about that sort of motion, you sometimes the best thing you can do is like an anti-rotational exercise, which will allow you to rotate more and help with that strength, if that made any sense.
I mean, like if I think of every life-saving event, except like March Past, which we don't do anymore, your core is going for broke in every single one.
And what we do is different. We're on the sand. We're on the sand, you're in the water. It's not a controlled environment. It is generally everything unstable, it's bumpy, even in a ski on a board, it's not a stable surface. So you want to be as strong in those sort of areas and your core as you possibly can be.
And then, this is quite an interesting question with where should mobility and prehab be fitting into off-season? I mean, again, on social media, you'll see a video of like, I did this stretch every day for 30 days and look how much more supple I am, or look how much better my mobility is. Mobility is also, I think, one of those things that not everyone's doing by default. So how much of it should you be adding in, if any, based on your program?
So I would say, firstly, we can't compare mobility and flexibility. It's not the same thing. Like, that's a really important thing to be. Being mobile, there's a lot of good mobility drills you can do, a lot of really good YouTube videos. But think about being mobile in your joints. I want my joints to be strong and the muscles around them to be strong, but I want to be mobile in those joints. We can actually be, not the thing, definitely not me, not that many people are, you can be hyper flexible. Like just stretching out your hamstring constantly, or just stretching out your pec constantly. That's not always the answer. You want to be mobile. So putting your arm through a full range of motion. My personal take on that is definitely, like, I would use stretching and yoga as form of a recovery. And then my mobility, I often try, and again, mobility, prehab, rehab, separate issues. Mobility, I would try to put into my program. You'll be shocked, like something like an RDL is actually, or stiff-legged deadlift is fantastic for your mobility. It's actually even better because you're doing mobility under a load. So you're stretching it out. You know, like you can taking your hip through a full range of motion, not necessarily under a load. That's mobility. Prehab, rehab, very important. Again, if it was me personally planning a program or myself, I would always include that as the first thing I do. Because then I'm getting it done while I'm fresh. I can concentrate on doing it properly, use the right muscles, and kind of forcing me to get it done. Like, if I want to do box jumps or something really cool, like, let me do the crappy stuff first, and then I get to do that. Kind of like rewarding myself, but that forces you to get it in. Hey guys, then some facts, some frequently asked questions we got. Number one, how can junior athletes safely build strength? Again, it's a very contentious topic, but they can 100% build strength. If you think about push-ups, squats, sit-ups, anything kind of body rate related, they can really build strength. And the nice thing about that is with a good coach or good movement, they're really learning a lot about how their body works, proprioception, which is balance, and basically connecting your core to your extremities. It's all super important, and it's very safe. It is very, very safe. If you think about flags, they're basically doing sort of pushing movements already. So don't be afraid to get your children to do those sort of moves. And you can add a tempo, like try doing a tempo push-up where you go 2 seconds down, 2 seconds hold. Christina will know this well again, and 2 seconds up. It's an incredible strength builder, and it's very safe even for your younger athletes. How long should an off-season strength block last? That's how long is a piece of string. But don't be afraid to make measurements here. So measure your strength. What was my 1 rep max or my 3 rep max, or how far did I jump? Whatever you want to do at the beginning of the season, then give yourself 6 weeks. Strength takes time. Like, it takes time. It's terrible that it takes time, but it takes a lot of time to see a drastically improved strength. So I would say 8 to 12 weeks is, again, ideal for me. It's hard with the way the seasons are structured now. You're kind of competing internationally. You're always on, but we basically want a 6 to 8 to 12 week block where you can really dial in on strength. Should I do cardio on the strength and training on the same day? Again, I think I probably have this discussion 12 times a week. It depends. What's your number one goal? Is your number one goal to get strong? Then that's where your focus should be. Focus on that training session. And then let your cardio come at least 6 hours later. If your main goal is fitness, then we do the opposite. Do your cardio first. Make sure you can invest your time in that. And then we jump in with the strength session. You can get strong and fit at the same time. And I know, again, hybrid athletes is this massive term. But if you focused on one, it's going to be a lot easier to achieve, and then a lot easier to maintain that when you go into your next block. Do I need supplements? Well, yes and no. Depending on how much you're training, depending on how hard you are training. Like, you'll see this on every video. Supplements supplement to food. Our first choice is always to get what we need through food, but sometimes that is impossible. If you look at protein, if you are like in the ore and you're training for 33,000 hours a day, then supplements help, because you can get in a high volume of calories, high volume of nice, good recovery food and nutrients without having to eat that sort of volume of food. For me, whey protein, the top supplements I would always go would be whey protein, just because you know what you're getting in. You can control it with a number. Like, protein's quite heavily linked to fat, so it's quite an easy way to get a lean protein in. Creatine, everyone should be on, every single person. So you're looking at about 0.1 milligrams, 0.1 of a gram per kg of body weight. So if I'm 107, I'll have 10.7 grams. Doesn't have to be exact. Try to get at least 5 grams of creatine a day. It helps a ton with recovery, a lot with cognitive function. It is a superfood, though I know it has a bad rep. Then the other ones to look at would be especially zinc and magnesium. D3 is a surprising one these days, especially and we outdoor athletes, we think we're in the sun all the time. The way the technology goes and work goes, we're not in the sun as often as we think. And if we're not topped up with all the other vitamins and minerals, we can't actually process vitamin D. So D3 would be a big one. And then it's a long list of things that we can do. If you really want some info, you can send us a little comment, and we'll send out a document. Okay, and then the best way to stay motivated during the off season. I always find these questions weird, because why would you be wanting to strength train? Why would you be training so hard if you're not motivated? Of course, motivation dips. Motivation isn't a motivator. Discipline's a motivator. Consistency's a motivator. And for me, results are a massive motivator. Like, give yourself many tests. Give yourself many things to track. Like, if it's strength, if it's a jump, if it's how much you weigh, how much you lift. Like, check, and in 4 weeks, check again. And those small little increments, it keeps you motivated. It keeps those bite-sized victories there. But ultimately, discipline over motivation, consistency over motivation, and just do it. My favorite quote in the world is the simplest one. Floyd Mayweather says, all work is easy work. And it is easy work, because we can do it. We can do it. We get to do it when it comes to training, the work of training. So get it done. Guys, thanks for coming to the off-season strength masterclass. I hope it helped. Don't be afraid to ask any questions, ask more detailed. If you want to lose 3 hours of your life, you can talk to me about any of it. And we'll see you soon.